do you stretch? Why do we stretch? Why does anybody stretch? Does anybody actually like stretching? Now, some people will say yes, but most people will say, hey, it's just because I was told I should stretch, or I should warm up before I go to the exercise or before I run. And so just because somebody else, you don't even know who that someone else is, usually it's Dr. Google or someone else, tells you that you should stretch based off of no evidence and or understanding about why we stretch or what we're stretching for, tells you should do it. And so you just follow along with it. So in this video, I want to share with you a coaching call that I had with an individual who was doing a lot of stretching, but then it's like the more he stretched, the more he hurt. And he was stretching so much like he should. He was warming up, doing all that good stuff, but then he started to hurt. And so I asked him, I said, hey, why do you stretch? Right? And so one thing I want to share and highlight inside this coaching call is that the intent behind why you stretch matters more than the act of stretching itself in most cases. Check this out if you have a question about should you stretch or should you not stretch and you have some type of back, butt, or sciatica problem. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Charlie Johnson. I'm a physical therapist. I have my doctorate in PT. I also have my board specialty in orthopedics, and I teach people like you who are maybe a little bit lost, confused, frustrated by all the information out there on what to do. I show you how to resolve your own pain by teaching you how to use movement and the mind as medicine. And if you're watching this and you're like, hey, Charlie, I got this pain in my back, butt, leg, and I'm doing all these stretches, but I don't even know what I'm stretching because I don't even know what the cause is. I'm getting mixed signals and or advice or opinions. Be sure to check out my Better Than an MRI DIY diagnostic guide where I clear all of those questions up about what could be the source of your pain inside of it. All right, let's jump into it.
Okay. So, and another question is about stretching, because I've been doing stretching like before I have pain. So it's like I was trying to do some, like bending over, like to try to touch the ground, something like that, or open my legs. So I thought it was good for me, right? So, but you mentioned in your video that maybe this is due to some, may cause some muscle weakness or like lack of oxygen.
Sure.
So I'm not sure like if I should like also trying to do that.
Good question.
Like hamstring, whatever. Yeah.
So I would just say, like, what's the intent behind doing it? Go back to the objective of stretching. What were you trying to accomplish before with stretching? And what now would you be trying to accomplish if you were to reinitiate it?
Before that, it was just I was looking at someone else, like they can do that. Maybe, it's good for me. I should also try to do that, touching the ground,
Yeah.
Maybe some yoga stuff, right? So,
cool.
Yeah.
So you were trying to keep up with the Joneses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Okay,
because
now.
Never be able to do that, right? Touching the ground. So, maybe at a certain point of my time, I want to try my best to see if I can do that. It's like just
That's cool. Yeah, so you were curious. You saw other people, doing stuff, or maybe even saying, "Hey, stretching, you should stretch, and it's good," or whatever, right? And I get it. So you kind of went along with it there. I don't really see a problem with that per se. But now I would say, like, knowing what you know, what would the objective now be of starting to try to initiate stretching?
I guess my objective is just trying to go back to activity. So not just stretching. I mean, to be able to do some stretch would be good, but I think my goal is just to be able to do some kind of exercise like jogging, go back to gym, and of course trying to do that safe way without causing some kind of injury. That's my goal.
Good. Yeah. So I would say, like, do you really are you like, man, like I love stretching?
I don't know. It's just like I heard a lot of videos say, okay, before going to the gym or like maybe after doing some of exercise, you need to do some stretching, right? So building muscle, whatever, right? So I don't.
Do you actually like stretching? Like, forget about what everybody else says. Are you like, man, I love stretching?
Not much. So I haven't been stopped doing, and so far it's okay. Do you feel some kind of like moderate stretching makes me feel good, like relaxing?
Yeah. So I'd say, look, what I'm trying to get at there is, like, is it really authentic or is it inauthentic? Right? Are you just doing it because somebody else maybe says you should do it and you've kind of labeled it just based off your worldview as good or bad, right? And or now, right? Are you trying to do it because you think it'll fix your problem and get you moving better, right? Like, what is the intent and or the objective behind it,
right? It sounds like it's just something that kind of was like, hey, maybe I should try to do that. And like, I don't know. And then that's fine. I don't have a problem with it in and of itself. But I would say, like, you could get back to stretching, or you could just get back to running. Which would you prefer?
Maybe first running. I want to say running.
I would say. Yeah, I think that's more you, right? Like if I would say, hey man, you like we're gonna go stretch for 30 minutes, or we're gonna go run for 30 minutes, right? Assuming that there was no pain or problems, right? Before, right, this whole injury, okay, things started,
Yeah.
right? Like, which would you prefer? You probably, my guess, would have sided with, I'd rather run than just sit here and stretch, based off what you presented, right? And so I would say, I think it's a more authentic thing to kind of go after. I think it's a better, more a better goal in that it's more in alignment with sort of who you are and what you're looking to get back to. And you know, even when we look at the evidence, I'm not saying stretching is good nor bad. If it's something you love to do, right? Stretching, for example, like maybe in the form of a lot of yoga or whatever. Okay, cool. You can do it if you want. I don't know why you need to bring your rubber bands and your muscles and your body to those extremes. I don't think it's very functional, but whatever, right? Then cool. Like, but if that's something you really wanted to like get back to, because that's what you did, or that's what you're passionate, I'd say, yeah, let's set it as a goal, man. Okay, let's set it as an intention. It's in alignment. Let's go after it, and let's like reverse engineer how we can get there. But since that's not you, and you were kind of just doing it because you're like, well, other people say I should do it or not do it, right? Then I would say let's set running as the goal, okay? And let's make that like the focus moving forward. And then if you want to sprinkle some in afterwards, we can talk about what that looks like.
Okay. Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that helpful? Does that answer that question?
Yeah.
All right, so why do you stretch? Now let me ask you that after watching the video. Why do you stretch? Isn't authentic coming from a place of like, I love stretching? Or are you just trying to follow along with what everybody tells you? Are you just comparing yourself to others, right? And saying, well, that person can touch their toes and I want to be able to touch my toes. Do you really need to be able to do that? And does it matter? There's so many times we're told to do things when we're in pain and or even when we're not in pain. So we have all these mobility programs, right? You need to do all these stretches. Everybody's going to yoga to get more limber. But why are you getting more limber? Why not get more stiff and strong? Right? Is one better than the other? And so you can hopefully see from this that we actually steered him away from stretching. Stretching would have fueled his pain because he was being inauthentic in it. He was doing it from a place of like, well, I should do this, a place of pressure, a place of comparison, rather than a place of like, hey, dude, I actually want to do that, and that's fun. And so we directed him to say, hey, man, forget about stretching. Why don't you just start running? Right? And he's better because of it. Again, this is Dr. Charlie. Hopefully this was useful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want more rants and or other videos like this. Thanks.